Harness racing, where horse and driver become one. It's a sport where Canadians are world leaders. Harness racing. Catch it at a track near you.
The eyes of the harness racing world are going to be on Presidential Ball. They also have to be on the man that's going to drive them, and that's Ron Waples joining us right now, who has driven him to his last 4 victories in a row. Nice to have you joining us. How easy did it look with Presidential Ball last week?
Well, he seemed very strong throughout the whole mile, especially coming from home. He just eased on home on his own. I never asked him anywhere. He just did it all within himself, or seemed like he did anyway.
Had a lot left in the tank?
Well, he sure felt like he did. I hope he wasn't lying to me.
Now, this is the only major race I think you have never won. How do you approach this race?
Well, with a good attitude with a horse like that there, you know, I'll never go into this race with a liver mount. You know, he's just a great horse, and, you know, if I was ever going to win it, this would be my best shot, I'll tell you that.
You are the master of understatement when it comes to assessing horses, in fact, the world. But you have said this is the greatest horse you've ever driven. Was that a correct quote?
Yes, I did. He just seems that great to me. I thought I drove a lot of good horses, and I think I have, but this horse is just so handy and got such high speed, and he's tough. If you were going to build a horse, I don't know what you'd do different. He just seems like a great one.
People are always talking records. They love to see records. Will there be a record tonight?
Well, if it is, it'll be what he pays to win if he wins. I hope not any speed records. At least if I had my way, that's the way it would be. I just like
together Presidential Ball. 7 horses went to the starting gate in the second elimination. And remember as well, it's first, second, and third to qualify.
The morning line favorite in here was the number 6 horse, Life Sign, who won his division of the Burlington the week before very easily. And outside of him in the 7-post, Lot of Soul. Number 3, BEASTMASTER, who normally has a problem getting away at the start, got away nicely this time. He had an inside post, a 3-post, and got away third in the early going. He was ahead of Life Sign, who ended up 4th, and that was the difference at the end of the race. He needed that much space to win the race.
Sunshine in second.
BEASTMASTER stayed 3rd at this point in the race, and then started his move in a first over challenging position down the backstretch. Here he is, coming on for the lead from Thompsonville at the top of the stretch. But right behind him, getting a perfect following second over position on the outside, was Life Sign, Pacific Sunshine locked into the rail. Now, BEASTMASTER clears quickly at the top of the stretch and cruises over to the rail. Life Sign, Vic, had no excuse here. He was in perfect striking position, and although he did continue to close, he seemed to hang late in the stretch, and BEASTMASTER had enough to hang on.
Well, that, I think, may be the key, as he wins in a career best of 152-4, but as you suggest, BEASTMASTER hanging on, maybe laboring at the end as compared to Presidential Ball. Once again, here's Marty.
Put BEASTMASTER in against any other 3-year-old anywhere else in the country tonight, and he's a winner. Tonight, he's up against Presidential Ball. Steve Condren will drive him. How did he do last week?
I put in a pretty gritty effort. He was first up from the tote board and had a good boost of speed off the turn, and we were pretty happy with the result.
They say he's coming to his peak right now.
Yeah, he feels real good. Brad's done a real good job with him, and we're hoping for good results tonight.
Of course, that's trainer Brad Maxwell. How do you beat a horse like Presidential Ball?
Well, I don't know if you can beat him, but hopefully a little bit of luck, things will go our way.
Well, you'll be more than lucky. It'll be your 3,500th win if you can get the job done. I'm sure you're going to reach 35, maybe before that race, Steve.
Well, thanks, Marty. I hope it's one tonight anyways.
In fact, Steve Condren made his 35th hundredth win earlier tonight here at Greenwood. 3rd elimination. Again, 7 horses and another horse for Bill Robinson.
Lot of Soul was the horse that looked like he had a chance in there but didn't get the job done. Here we have his other horse, Riyadh, the 3-5 favorite, scoring from the 2-post. Native born with the rail. Village Jiffy, who won an elimination or a division of the Burlington out there in the middle of the track. Captain Pantastic was first away from the gate, with Riyadh dropping in second and Native Born sitting 3rd from his rail starting position. But Riyadh only waited a couple strides and made his move to reclaim the lead for Bill Gale as they came over to the quarter-mile mark. And here he is, Riyadh, up to take charge of the field, and from then on he was clearly in control. Just a small, fine horse, but a very handy little horse, and Bill Gale started him up a little early perhaps in the Burlington, but he waited as long as he possibly could to put on the afterburners. in the eliminations of the Cup. Bonnie and Clyde had come first over, but really had no pace from the half-mile pole on. Here they are at the top of the stretch, Riyadh, and Bonnie and Clyde there on the outside third, but starting to tire now. And this is where Bill Gale gave Riyadh the word. He tapped the shaft a couple times, and he accelerated away from the field. Clearly the best of this division, and he was home in an identical time to the second elimination, 152 and 4.
Fantastic second.
152 and 4, Riyadh with Bill Gale, the 1991 Canadian Driver of the Year, and the second horse trained by Bill Robinson, who has the two favorites so far. Here's Marty.
Well, the rumor around the racetrack is that Presidential Ball should win the North America Cup, and everybody else is going for place money. Well, maybe somebody's got something to say about that who's joining us right now. You drove Riyadh last week. How did he perform?
Well, he won in 52 and 4, which was a couple of ticks slower than Presidential Ball, but he won well in hand. I never had to ask him from the head of the stretch to the wire, and he's good and fresh.
How do you beat a horse like Presidential Ball?
Well, I haven't seen anybody do it yet, so I'm not really sure how to do it, but I know I have to have exceptional good racing luck, and he has to have exceptional bad racing luck.
Can you give me an idea of how you think this race will develop?
Well, I would imagine there's going to be quite a bit of front speed in it, and I would think likely my horse would be a part of that, and Presidential Ball probably to just settle on the outside and clear to the front when things get sorted out.
But Bill Gale thinks luck is the key.
Well, luck for my horse. I'm not sure Ronnie Waples needs as much as I do.
Yeah, that's the feeling, Earl, that a lot of people, the other horses in particular, are going to need lots of luck to beat Presidential Ball. First place, $500,000. And listen, when you're running for second through fifth, it's worthwhile.
Boy, the $8,000 starting fee looks cheap if you pick up fifth money at $50,000. A great investment.
It is the 10th annual North America Cup here on TSN. 26 minutes to post on an absolutely gorgeous evening here at Greenwood in Toronto. One of the really unique things about Greenwood Raceway is that you can get here by taking the streetcar. It's the 10th annual North America Cup here on TSN. And it is reportedly, Earl, the only facility of its kind where you can take a streetcar. And I think it'll be sorely missed.
Well, it is the only track in North America where you can take a streetcar, Vic, but unfortunately for the people who don't bring the streetcar, it's a rather difficult place to get here down on the lakeshore. It's very pretty once you're here. But with the Don Valley Parkway closed and the Gardner closed and the jam-ups on Lakeshore, it is difficult for the rest of us coming from a distance. From a purely selfish point of view, living west of Toronto, I'm glad they're going to the Woodbine and Mohawk.
Well, that's what we want to tell you about now. The future of Greenwood. The Ontario Jockey Club saying that because of financial and economic reasons, this is likely the last North America Cup at this downtown facility. They call it the Old Oval by Lake Ontario, Greenwood Raceway. It has played host to horse racing since 1874. Originally named Woodbine Raceway, it has been a center of racing and culture in the area for 119 years, hosting such prestigious events as the Queen's Plate and the North America Cup. But now it appears that Greenwood is living on borrowed time as the Ontario Jockey Club has decided to sell the property for economic reasons.
We have lost $9 million over the course of the last 3 years through our operations generally. These are very difficult times in terms of the economy, as we all know. Racing is also facing structural problems related to increasing competition for discretionary income and leisure time. I don't think I have to elaborate on that. I think people are generally aware of that problem. We have made this decision, however, in the best interests of horse racing.
When and if Greenwood does close, harness races will be moved to Mohawk and Woodbine, with Woodbine renovated to accommodate the standard grades.
We'll have a 1-mile track. The lighting system, of course, will be incorporated, but we will be building a 10-race paddock. It'll be the first mile track for harness racing in Canada. That's, we think, a very major advantage of this plan. We are strongly committed to harness racing, and this will be clearly demonstrated as our plan is implemented.
And as for the residents of downtown Toronto who frequent Greenwood, The OJC plans to open intertrack facilities on or near the site.
Our plan includes keeping sufficient real estate at the Greenwood location to provide for a state-of-the-art teletheater to accommodate anywhere from 2,000 to 2,500 people, and we would complement that with a number of smaller teletheaters throughout the areas.
The announcement of the proposed sale came as a shock to many of the local residents who have enjoyed Greenwood for its history as well as its economic impact.
Over 400 jobs for one. I mean, I think that's a significant factor right there, and most of those people live in the area. $5.3 million worth of taxes, commercial taxes, which are a great asset to the city. And lastly, and I think just as importantly, it's almost 100 acres of virtually open land. From an environmental and other standpoint, I mean, it's great. And it brings a heck of a lot of business into the area. But if it were to go, and again, I stress it's a big if, but if it were to go, I think the biggest concern people will have is, you know, is it high-rise we're talking about? Is it low-rise? What's the mixture going to be like? How many people are we talking about? There could be anywhere from 10 to 15,000 housing units on the site. And at that point, people started to get a little more desperate and started saying to themselves, hey, I want it to stay. And that's what we're fighting to do right now. We're fighting to keep it.
So for now, and at least the next couple of years, the racing will continue at Greenwood, and the old oval by the lake, as well as its many fans, will wait anxiously for its ultimate fate to be decided. I may be selfish, but I tell you what, on a night like this, when you can smell the lake and there's the warm breeze, this is a very special place.
Well, it is nice down here, as I said. It's just the problem of getting here. It's interesting, the councillor's comments, Vic, you know, for years the residents around Greenwood have hated the fact that people park illegally in their driveways and on the curbs. And now that it might be closed, they realize the economic benefit of such a nice neighbor.
And what will it mean to the horsemen to be on a mile oval now for the first time?
Well, it'll be nice to showcase harness racing in Canada on a mile track. Unfortunately, it's in the winter time, I think, that they're going to be racing there, December through March, but it'll give the fans a different way to bet on the horses, too, because, of course, handicapping a horse on a mile track is different than on a 5/8.
And it's just a part of the times, the economic reasons, when you're losing upwards of $4 million a year, and you heard the Alderman Jakovic talk about $5 million in taxes. When you're losing that kind of money, decisions have to be made, and that's what the OJC has done.
The OJC is just like you and I, Vic. We don't need 4 houses, we only need 3.
And so they will have their new house, one at Mohawk, and then they'll split residence at Woodbine. 19 minutes to post. It is the 10th Annual North American Cup, and it's only right here on TSN.
Phil Robinson has trained a lot of great horses during his career. Precious Bunny is one that jumps immediately to mind. But Robinson is starting to get the feeling that Presidential Ball is not only the best pacer he's ever trained, but one of the best ever.
I also had Precious Bunny, and he acts exactly the same way as this horse. They look after themselves. They got the speed, they got the gait, they got the heart, they got the attitude. They have everything, and you know they're born that way. And all you need is put a good driver on them, and away you go.
Robinson has put more than a good driver on Presidential Ball. He has the legendary Ron Waples guiding his prize horse. Waples rarely praises the horses he drives, but he's told Robinson that Presidential Ball is the fastest horse he's ever driven.
I got to go by what Ronnie Waples says, and he doesn't. He's not very vocal about how good a horse is, but he's very vocal on this horse. He said he's the best horse he's ever driven, and I've had people come up to me and tell me how good he is.
How fast is Presidential Ball? As a 2-year-old, he shattered a track record in Yonkers, New York by 3 full seconds. Presidential Ball also holds the record for the fastest time ever on a 5/8 mile track. In the North America Cup elimination, he hardly broke a sweat.
He played with what that's one. Rob Waples said he was just as good at the wire last week as when he left the gate, so I guess he's getting just a touch stronger, a little tighter.
The last Triple Crown winner in harness racing was Ralph Hanover 10 years ago. Now, this son of Camfella is poised for a Triple Crown of his own.
All he has to do is stay sound, and it's very realistic. I think a half-mile track will not hurt this horse at all, where it hurts some other horses. A mile track's not going to hurt him. I don't think both position will hurt him. All we have to do is keep Waples sharp, and that's no problem. He's sharp all the time.
Well, I tell you what, fellas, if Bill Robinson is right and this horse Presidential Ball is getting stronger, that's not good news for the others out here tonight. What do you think, Marty?
Well, I'll tell you, I think a lot of it's going to have to be, like Bill Gale said, a lot of good luck for the winner. If he is to beat Presidential Ball, he's got to have a lot of bad luck. It's much like me driving on the Queen Elizabeth Highway here in Toronto. I'm not worried about my driving. I'm more worried about everybody else driving on this highway. I think that's what's going to happen with Ronnie Waples. He doesn't have to worry about what he has to do. He has to worry about what everybody else is going to do. As they leave the starting gate, I'll tell you it's going to be a charge to get to the front. Presidential Ball, it depends when he gets to the front. That will determine whether or not he wins. As a result, I'm picking Presidential Ball to win it. I'm going to put Beastmaster under.
And Beastmaster, the number 4 horse, might be the second choice as we start to take a look now at the field of 9 for this 10th running of the North America Cup. And that is the number 1 horse, that is the starting gate, with driver Tony Curwood.
Very interesting name on this horse, Cal bred. He was bred in California by a former Grand Circuit star who unfortunately raced the same year as Niatros, a horse called Denali. And the starting gate has post 1. Frank Conlon is his trainer. His groom there is Tracy Welch, and will be driven by Tony Curwood. Here's a horse who has blazing speed for a short piece. He can't come first over and challenge for a long piece in the race, but with the number 1 post, if he happens to get lying 3rd or 4th and is close at the top of the stretch and gets loose, now that's a lot of ifs, Vic, he could make a great dash at the end of it.
Tony Curwood, the driver, the former OJC Horseman of the Year back in 1988, as you say, out of California, the fastest California bred pacer at 152 and 2. That's his best mark. That was at the Meadowlands. As we take a look at the number 2 horse now, this is Pacific Sunshine.
Pacific Sunshine by the red-hot young New Jersey sire Albert. Albert is owned by Eddie Lohmeyer, John Stoddard, and John Van Kirk of Cream Ridge, New Jersey, now trained by Bob McIntosh. The local driver Mike Saftik is at the controls. Unfortunately, he's winless in 11 tries this year. He has 71,000 made on the year, 137,000 lifetime. I do believe this horse is just a notch back of Presidential Ball. He finished 2nd in his Burlington division. He finished 3rd in his Cup elimination. However, he does have a nice post position. He's going to need some luck, but he has the inside 2 posts. It will be a big help to him.
Pacific Sunshine, lifetime best, 152 and 3. That was at Garden State Park. Mike Saftik is the native of Sudbury, and he's been racing and driving here on the OJC circuit since 1989. Number 3 is No Way.
No Way is a no-nuke son, trained and driven by Carl Allen and co-owned by Mr. Allen. He's won 3 of 11 this year and 154,000. Off to a slow start as a 2-year-old Vic. He only made $625. He closed from 7th to 3rd last week at the top of the stretch, but didn't gain any significant ground. He was 5 3/4 lengths off the leader at the top of the stretch, and he finished 3rd, beaten 5 lengths by Presidential Ball. The starting gate came right past him.
As you suggest, this is a family operation, drives, trains Carl Allen, something you don't see very often anymore.
No, it's unusual to have a trainer-driver in the race, and this is the only one in this event.
The number 4 horse is Beastmaster.
This is a Cam fella son like Presidential Ball from an Albatross dam. Brad Maxwell, co-owner and trainer. Steve Condren drives. As you mentioned earlier, he won in an upset with Goalie Jeff in the North American Cup. Hyatt Holdings, Brad Maxwell stable, and the Dutch Boys stable from the Woodstock area are the owners of Beastmaster. He was a top 2-year-old. He's earned $392,000 lifetime. Got off to a bit of a slow start this year. He really did look quite good last week, although he was all out to hold off Life Sign in 152 4/5.
And it's been quite the evening for driver Steve Conran, who has won now win number 3,500. He won the North America Cup in '89 on Goalie Jeff, and he was an OJC Driver of the Year in '86 and '87.
He got his 3,500th win on the North America Cup, the consolation winner, the Cam fellow horse Cam's Magic Trick in the 5th race.
Number 5 is Captain Pantastic.
A slapstick gelding from a silent majority dam trained by William Walters. Dave Wall will drive. He's owned by the Peter Pan stables of Pepper Pike, Ohio. Has won 3 of 6 this year at 26,000, 149,000 lifetime. Captain Pantastic was a very good second to Riyadh, but that was one of the softer divisions, and even though he finished second, he actually lost ground on the leader in the stretch. Captain Pantastic's caretaker is Kevin Whitaker.
Never out of the money in 6 starts in 93, Captain Fantastic. The number 6 horse is native born.
This horse showed extreme ability as a 2-year-old, was lightly raced and very well managed by his co-owner, William Keeping. He's Annihilator from the family of Adios Vic, the Meadow Skipper Dam native Rita. Doug Brown drives tonight. He's won 2 of 5 this year, but was in soft company at Lexington's Red Mile. But he looks to be getting better. Now again, he had the 1 post last week and lost ground to Riyadh in the stretch despite finishing 3rd.
Won 7 of 8 races in 92, native born, and as you suggest, Lexington Mile's been kind to him. Career best there was 152 flat. Riyadh is number 7.
Riyadh is a Jake Lobel son, a fine, small little horse who likes to be out in the action early. Whether he'll be tough enough to battle off Presidential Ball, but he might get out and get a nice trip behind him. Peter Heffring bought this horse early this year for $200,000 from Presidential Ball's owner, Antonio Chiaravelli, who thought he was the 3rd best horse in his stable behind Presidential Ball, and a lot of sold. Bill Robinson continued to train. He's won 6 of 9 and 171,000 back, so he doesn't own Peter Heffring of Port Perry a lot of money at this point.
And this now the horse that everyone really has come to see so much talk about, number 8, Presidential Ball.
Bill Robinson in the white t-shirt on the left, and his groom on the right, Ed Burning, leads Presidential Ball in the post parade. What can you say? He's a cam fella from a great race mare, I Maryland, by Mountain Skipper, solely owned by Antonio Chiaravelli of Hamilton. There are no partnerships here. Ron Waples, the driver. He's won 6 of 7. The only race he lost this year was his first start, and you could say he maybe wasn't tight for that one. A horse called Vine Street, who was on a big winning streak at that point, beat him. But the next week, Presidential Ball reversed the order of finish, and nobody's got close to him since, Vic.
And rounding out the field of 9 for this 10th edition of the North American Cup, number 9 is Life Sign.
Gene Regal on the left, his trainer, and although this horse looked a little stale last week, you can be well assured that Gene Regal will have done whatever he had to in training, shoeing, changes this week to have the horse very sharp for tonight's race. He's owned by George Siegel's Brittany Farms of Versailles, Kentucky. He's won 3 of 5 this year and was twice second. That's a pretty good record. John Campbell driving won't hurt him any either.
Well, the thing is, John Campbell won on Precious Money the North American Cup in 91, and now you see Ron Waples getting ready to slip into the buggy as he looks for his first North America win on the heavy favorite, that is Presidential Ball.
And we have two horses that are currently second choice at 7-1. Marty's horse, Life Sign, and Beastmaster. And I've been touting the starting gate for 2 weeks here, Vic, and at 12-1, he could be a very close second if he gets a lucky trip and is lying close at the top of the stretch.
And this is the way they will go to the starting gate, with the starting gate inside and Presidential Ball on the outside. They'll do 8 along the gate, and Life Sign will be in the second tier. As we join our track announcer, Frank Salif.
Well, thanks a lot, Vic. And Earl, Marty, ready for the $1 million 10th edition of Canada's richest harness race, the North America Cup. I don't know if it's an omen or anything, but Presidential Ball and number 5, Captain Fantastic, were the first 2 to put their noses on the starting gate. The rest of them are lining up. And we'll let those of you across Canada now join the Greenwood crowd tonight for North America Cup number 10. Under the command of the starter, it's the 10th edition of the $1 million North America Cup in the backstretch, and there they go. They're off and pacing from the far outside. Presidential Ball, Captain Fantastic in the center of the track. Riyadh is leading out. The starting gate has a spot on the inside. Into the first turn, the starting gate and Captain Fantastic battle for the lead. In between them, that's Pacific Sunshine. Life Sign is in between pacers. Caught on the outside, Riyadh. Presidential Ball on the outside all the way in that first turn. Beastmaster got away in 7th in heavy traffic. Further back along the inside, Native Born, No Way was the trailer. The opening quarter in 27 seconds. The starting gate is on the lead. Life Sign comes to the outside from second. Life Sign is being sent to the front by John Campbell as they move over to the half. And back in second is the starting gate. Third on the inside, Pacific Sunshine. Riyadh is 4th out. Captain Fantastic 5th. Beastmaster is further back on the outside in 6th at the half is Presidential Ball. The trailer's Native Born and No Way. and the half was in 55 seconds. Life Sign 28 seconds to get the lead in the second quarter. Life Sign bringing them into the final 3/8 of the mile in Cup 10. The starting gate is in second. Riyadh third on the outside. Pacific Sunshine is fourth. Presidential Ball is fifth on the outside, about 4 lengths off the lead. Presidential Ball is winding up 3 wide at the top turn, so is Beastmaster. Further back on the inside are Pacific Sunshine, Captain Fantastic, and Native Born 3/4, 1:22.2, and they're at the top of the stretch. Life Sign is still there. Presidential Ball is coming to them on the outside. Life Sign, Presidential Ball, and Beastmaster. Presidential Ball is coming on in Cup 10. Presidential Ball showing a late lead. Presidential Ball wins Cup 10 over Ron Waples by half a length over the starting gate in 1:51, a track and stakes record.
151 Presidential Ball sets a new record for the North American Cup. And didn't he have to work for it?
He did have to work for it. He had a lot of road trouble. There were horses in his road all the way, and Ronnie elected to move him late. John Campbell tried to steal the race, getting down to the 3/4 so fast he thought he could put some daylight between himself and Presidential Ball. And I warned you and Marty, the starting gate beat you out of your triactors. Here was a horse who got a lovely trip along the rail. Tony Curwood maneuvered him out late, and he made that great rush at the end. I don't know if he ever would have gotten to Presidential Ball, but he was close enough to be scary at the very end of it. Here's Life Sign on the lead, and see the starting gate is right in behind him and wants out. He's got his head turned right around to the left. He's begging to get out, but doesn't have enough room yet. And fortunately, Presidential Ball got by him at this point, and now we know right here that he's going to go by Life Sign. Now the starting gate gets clear, and Tony Curwood starts him up. Life Sign is beginning to tire, and the starting gate, you can see, is closing very slowly. Now he starts to pick it up here right on Presidential Ball at the end. He was only a neck away at the finish bit.
151 flat is the time, and congratulations to Ron Waples. Of all the events he has never won, now he can say he has won a North America Cup. Presidential Ball wins here at Greenwood on a wonderful evening. Wins his very first North America Cup, and Ron Waples is with Marty.
Congratulations, Ronnie. Listen, we said that if this horse was going to get beat tonight, somebody had to have an awful lot of good luck, and you had to have bad luck. We thought it was going to happen at the beginning. That would tell the story. What happened at the beginning of this race? It was a shuffle everywhere.
Yeah, everybody was jockeying for positions, in which I thought they would. I just was hoping that I could maybe clear to the front somewhere in the mile, but I wasn't in a hurry leaving out of the gate. I just wanted to save him as much as I could, because if I didn't get to the front, I knew it was going to be a tough trip.
You were pretty far back early on in the race. Was there ever a point where you thought, hey, we're not going to get there?
I don't think so. This little guy, he's got such high speed and he tries so hard. You don't have to ask him for it. He volunteers it for you. So I felt pretty confident the whole way, really. I didn't win by much, but I still felt pretty confident.
Yeah, that's all that counted in the end there. We don't have the start, but we're gonna pick it up at the just past the half as the horses go into the backstretch again. Where are you here?
I'm sitting behind Ray. Had to make me fifth on the outside, I guess.
Now Riyadh, he started to move up, but take it from here. It looked like he hung a little.
Well, he was just, he'd been parked all the way first over and won a big trip, this colt, and he just kept edging his way up, and I was hoping he could get me up close enough to the front, because John was getting everything his own way with that colt, and that's a great colt, so I just followed him here, and on the turn, this little guy can accelerate so fast in the turn, I felt I had to go 3 wide there and get up close to John before he got away too far on me.
Well, we had suggested before the start of the race that this might be the night for Life Sign if there was going to be an upsetter. He raced awfully huge.
This horse won a big trip. He had the rail, which is a big plus in these races, and got everything his own way. John came back and covered him up and got to sit in there, but he's a good colt.
I wasn't surprised that Tony Curwood raced the way he did, but how about you?
Well, I thought this horse was big. I wasn't expecting him to leave as much, but I talked to John Campbell, and he said that when he was down at Meadowlands, he could leave pretty good. So, once I knew that, then I wasn't surprised.
Well, you win the race right here. You win it by 3/4 of a length. Let me ask you this. If there was another 1/4 of a mile in this race, where would you have been?
I think he still would have won. He's that great of a horse.
You've now won it out. We talked about you'd never won the North America Cup. The fans said an awful lot to you as you worked your way into the winner's circle.
I got one more. I'd kind of like to get that Confederation Cup. I kind of eluded me there one year.
Oh, Charles Gorovinsky said, don't forget to mention Fabulous Flamborough Downs, and I knew there would be some way you'd get it in for Charlie.
Can I just say thanks to all the fans for all the cheering? I tell you, it's really great to hear that. I think that you're the best fans in the world, and this little horse behind me, his caretaker, deserves all the applause. That's not me. Thank you.
Great words, Ronnie Waples. Harness drivers usually get more boos than they do get thank yous. And back to you, Vic.